Hey everyone, today I'm going to go ahead and replace a thermostat housing, including thermostat, on a 2014 Chrysler Town & Country. Was having issues where the temperature was not coming up to operating temperature, which is 203, anywhere near fast enough until I hit some hills. So anyways, stay tuned for all the details, and please subscribe if this helps you out at all. Comment if you'd like. I'll try to answer anything that's out there. Alrighty, have a good one. So I just bought this 2014 Town & Country from Florida, and I live in the Northeast, and I'm having a little bit of a thermostat problem. As you can see, it's 27 degrees Fahrenheit out. It says 186 on the temperature. The whole trip up here, it regulated fine above 200 degrees, but I never exposed it to freezing temperatures. And as you can see, I'm running the van back and forth. I've been actually driving it for about 15 minutes now, and you can see it going as low as 186. The highest it got was about 200. So my sneaking suspicion is that the thermostat was working fine on the drive up, regulating at the hotter temperatures, but it's sticking while it's trying to close. So anyway, we're going to pull it apart at some point. Just wanted to take the video now to show you guys what's going on. Okay, so I got the new thermostat in. Always check them out before I install everything. I didn't dip it in hot water to make sure that it opens, but ultimately that's what I would want to do, but it's a little bit overkill. Relatively easy job. All you got to do is separate the air box on the Town & Country. Right down there you could see the bleed screw down below. It's only held in by 2 bolts. I did disconnect this clamp right here to pull the hose, so I'm expecting as soon as I pull this off, coolant's going to come out of the engine this way, and I doubt it's going to stay in the hose because the thermostat is assumed to be open right now. So I'm going to pull that hose up as high as I can as soon as it's out. That way I minimize the coolant dripping out. And that's about it. Alright, so now you can see I pulled out the thermostat with the hose in my hand. I don't see it open, but either way, it's acting like it's faulty, so I'm just going to replace this whole unit. It only costs about 10 bucks on one of the parts sites. Pretty surprised for the whole entire housing. The thermostat and the gasket came with it. As you can see, it's already on there. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this guy out, and then I'm going to put that new one on, and then I'm going to slam it back into the engine, tighten the bolts up, and run the engine. And then make sure that I bleed out all the air and fill up the coolant after that. So here's a video of the first impressions. I let it heat up. I think I cycled a couple times, and as you can see, it's 185 right now. I'm going downhill, and it's just pegged at 185, not moving around much, which I think is good. I'm about to do an uphill. I don't expect it to go much above 203. 203 is when it opens up. That's the factory temperature for these thermostats. So I'll go ahead and film it when we start going uphill. Okay, so I'm about to go uphill. I wanted to film this because basically uphill puts more strain on the engine, so everything gets a little bit hotter. Something to note: earlier when I first took it out, it did go above 210 from a momentary time or two. I'm assuming that there was air inside the engine. It just needed to get a good cycle to get the coolant flowing around. Well, let's see what this will do. So 203, the thermostat should start to open up wide and allow a nice batch of colder coolant to come in, cool down the engine. So here we go, going uphill. Right now it's not going above 203, which is good. working. Sorry for the length of this video. I figured you might want to see how it behaves the whole entire time, just in case you have some questions on how my swap went. But this is all uphill, as you can see. It's 206, 204, 201, 199. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of gas in here. (201), 204, 206, 208, 206. So as you can see, the thermostat seems to be regulating nicely around 203. Right now, I'm back on flatter roads, I should say. Still going a little bit uphill, but not much. I'll go ahead and stop the video right now. And when I'm in my driveway, I will record when it comes back down to idle and sits for a little while. Just making sure it goes back down from that 206. Yep, so it seems like it's cycling. Alright, be back. So I've been sitting in the driveway for about a minute or two, and the coolant temperature is just hovering around 204 or 206. Not seeing it move much at all from there, so seems like that this thermostat is cycling just perfectly fine. And there's 203. But yeah, so coming down a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the hood and just loosen up that bleed screw a little bit just for a second to see if any air comes out, then probably call it a day. Stay tuned for the lessons learned. Well, here's a video of the first lesson learned. I went ahead and loosened that bleed screw perhaps a little bit too much, and it looks like it blew out the rubber gasket that's underneath it, so now I have a leak. So I gotta let the engine cool down, and then I will pop that bleed screw out and make sure that that rubber O-ring is seated and there's no leaks. Right there I loosened the old bleed screw off of the old thermostat housing. I just want to show you guys. You can see that rubber O-ring and how it's seated. What happened when I loosened it up hot, the pressure basically pinched that O-ring outside of the sealing area. So once it cools down, I'm pretty sure that all I got to do is loosen it up real quick and then tighten it down, and I'll be alright. So if that happens to you, that's all you got to do. The second lesson learned, this O-ring, it sits inside this groove right here. When I took this thermostat housing off, this was actually stuck inside the motor. So whether or not that was there before, while I was driving around and having the issues, it's a possibility, but I really doubt it, because that would have to mean that this was totally sealed and I was having no leaks without a rubber gasket in place. Honestly, can't imagine how this would slip off and into the engine while I'm removing this, but anyhow, something to be aware of. When you pull this out, make sure the rubber O-ring comes with it, because you do not want that to sit into the inside the engine while you're driving around. You'll screw up the whole entire cooling system.